What's going on, guys? And welcome back to Injection of Inspiration, where every single Saturday I, Graham Jason Matthews, inject you with a daily dose of motivational advice, helpful tips, and all that other great positive shit. As of this recording, it's been a few weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, but I did visit my girlfriend Haley in South Dakota. Yes, South Dakota. I am from Connecticut. A few weeks back. Great weekend. Visited her for her birthday. Had an awesome experience. I've been there before. I visited her back late last summer. Had an awesome time. I never obviously been to South Dakota before. My first time out there. I've been to a few other states here in the Northeast. I've been to obviously Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Virginia, and a few others, here on the East Coast, Florida, but never really that far out west, with the exception of California one time about 10 years ago. But I'll talk more about that momentarily. But with that being said, I do want to take this opportunity to talk about the advantages of exploring new horizons, expanding your horizons, exploring the world, and why it's such a great thing to do. I've always really enjoyed traveling. I don't really nowadays in recent years have had the chance to do much traveling outside of, again, like the Northeast, outside of like New England and whatnot. But I have in the last year or so from Florida, where I've been a number of times before, but it's always great to be back down in Florida. South Dakota now a few times. I've been to California before. About 10 years ago, I took part in a program with my school where it wasn't like my school, but it was more like a national thing. It's called People to People. I got to go across the world for 3 separate summers. Between the first summer was Europe. I got to go to France, England, Belgium, Ireland, and Wales. Maybe one other country, but those were the main ones. The following summer, I went to California, San Francisco to be exact. Great time over there as well. And then the following summer was my last time with that organization. I went to Australia. I went to Melbourne, Sydney, Kane, or whatever the city's name is. Got to go down to Australia. Great time over there. And I want to go back. I mean, now I can say I've been to all those different countries and states and all these other places, but I want to go back because I feel like I have a newfound appreciation for all these new different places. And you'll never know really what you'll learn until you're there. And it's always exciting to kind of go outside your comfort zone, which I've talked about here in the show before, which you absolutely have to do. Not to say that you're missing out on anything, but you kind of are missing out on things. You're not really, truly living life until you go outside of your bubble, outside of your hometown, out of your home state. Before my girlfriend came to visit me late last year, she had never left South Dakota, or 2 years ago, whatever. So at this point, she had never been outside South Dakota. Now she could say that she's been to not only Connecticut and Massachusetts, but she also got to travel to, in between connecting flights, Chicago, where I had never been either before I had to take a connecting flight to see her last year. In my connecting flights, most recently when I got to see her a few weeks ago, I went to Chicago on the way there and Dallas on the way back. I had never been to Texas before, and it's fucking hot as hell. That's a pretty obvious thing to say. But I found that out pretty quickly wearing 2 jackets in the middle of late March, where here in the Northeast, it's basically still winter. In Texas, it's fucking Texas, and it's going to be hot as hell. And I was sweating my ass off running from one terminal to the other. And obviously, travel can be difficult, especially for those like on the road constantly. Obviously, wrestlers come to mind, the WWE superstars, and athletes and celebrities and stuff like that. But traveling every once in a while and getting to appreciate and take in the culture is really something special. Again, you don't have to go halfway across the world to experience something new. You don't even really have to leave your own state to find something you never really discovered before in your home state and do something you've never done before. I'm not saying you absolutely have to go to the next state over or halfway across the country or even the world, but it does help the further along you go, wherever you live, whether it's to a new town, new state, new country, absolutely. You're always going to find something you did not know before. And even more so than that, meet people that you had never met before and maybe form a new relationship, a new friendship. I got to meet a lot of cool people in those 3 trips that I went on about 10 years ago between San Francisco, Europe, and Australia. I got to meet a lot of great people from each of those countries and states and whatnot, and it was a lot of fun. And you'll never really know who you might meet until you're there. So it's always an amazing opportunity to travel. And some people are scared of certain various forms of transportation, and rightfully so. I mean, flying is not easy, especially if you've never done it before. My girlfriend Haley had never traveled via a plane before she came to visit me about 1.5 years ago. And now that she's overcome that fear, now she's doing it, a few times out of the year, so it's really nothing to her now. But yeah, stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if you're afraid of flying or even taking a train or even driving, It's something it's a fear that you have to overcome, but once you overcome that obstacle, the benefits are well worth it. Wherever you go, whether it be, again, to a new town, state, country, whatever, it's so much fun, and you will absolutely not regret it. Again, I'm not saying you have to go all the way to Africa to see how different their culture is from ours, but it's worth the trip. I can't speak from experience. I've never been to Africa personally, but I can only imagine how much more different it is from where I live currently, from the United States on the whole. And again, you really find a newfound appreciation for your own culture, seeing it how much harder it is other places, or how much different it is other places, and you might enjoy it. You might even move out there at some point, but in many different cases, you see how different it is in other countries, and how differently they work from the United States or wherever you currently live. And you, again, like I had said, you find a newfound appreciation for where you live and how things are, and you might never find yourself complaining again about your current circumstances, about where you live, considering where else you could be in the world and what else you could be suffering from or experiencing in a negative light. And many countries have many different issues. The U.S. has issues too, obviously, but it's a way different culture than many other different parts of the world. But the bottom line here is that I'm trying to get at, as I'd already expressed earlier, expand your horizons, explore the world. In your lifetime, you're going to be able to have the opportunity to do a lot of cool things, and I've said it here before on the show, that you want to be able to do everything that you can while you still can. 30, 40, 50, okay, maybe by that point you can still travel, but 60, 70 years down the road when you're old and whatever, and you can't really travel or move as well as you used to, you might have missed your chance. You might regret it down the road, which you should never do. Live with no regrets. Take the opportunity now to travel the world. I'm not saying book your flight this very second to fucking Guam or some shit, or, wherever, Canada, Mexico, whether it be France or Italy, Greece. But, definitely look into it. It's something you might want to tackle at some point in your lifetime. At some point, there might be certain things you want to do in the meantime that are a lot easier to cross off your bucket list, but taking a trip even once to another country will be a memory that will last forever and teach you things that you would have never learned if you stay right where you are in your comfort zone. Staying where you are in your comfort zone, in your own little hometown, to the same people you've encountered for the last 20, 30, 15, 10 years, whatever, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but there is so much more to life than where you are right now. So go travel, explore the world, expand your own horizons. And you will be shocked by what you learn and the people that you meet and the amazing things you'll be able to experience. So anyway, guys, that is today's injection of inspiration, today's installment of injection of inspiration, I should say. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. I will be back next Saturday with another all-new installment in the Injection of Inspiration series. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.